Dollar. Dirt and money, no soul. Had to go and get it, ain't no time to kick it. Got a stack of flip for my foes. Dollar. Please tell me you can hear me. Don't turn your back and don't neglect me. Just let me know if you need me. Dollar. Let me watch out for my partners. Keep my money long, get my team strong. Let me run away from my problems.
Yep, what's good, original crew, man? We're back. Hey, we got another Just Thought Lounge visual today. We got the murder of Jacquelyn Smith, a true crime documentary. Another crime, another mystery that will be solved. Right?
Right.
Always. Hey, with that being said, before we get into it, make sure you check out the links in the description box.
Down below.
You already know where to go. If you want to first support, all you got to do is check out down below. Also, if you enjoyed today's visuals,
like it with a thumbs up.
Let's get into this, man. Let's see what it's about. You ready?
I'm ready.
Let's go.
On November 30th, 2018, the Smith family in Baltimore, Maryland were having a night out. Valeria Smith was with her father, Keith, and her stepmother, Jacquelyn, belatedly celebrating her 28th birthday. At the American Legion Hall, they ate, drank, danced, and took photos. When the family exited the Legion just before midnight, no one would have predicted that the night was about to turn deadly. A few blocks from Valeria's home, Keith slowed the car to a stop and rolled down the passenger window. Jacquelyn wished to offer money to a new mother who was out on the street, carrying a small bundle in her arms, as well as a sign that read, "Please help me feed my baby." As Keith would...
What time is it? Because I know he was telling some details you couldn't get nothing.
Yeah, he was on something.
He was going deep details in the first.
I didn't get the actual time of night.
The woman started back. Ain't no but 50 seconds.
Yeah, started back.
We can take it back for a minute.
I just be trying to, I want to get
On November 30th, 2018, the Smith family in Baltimore, Maryland were having a night out. Valeria Smith was with her father, Keith, and her stepmother, Jacquelyn, belatedly celebrating her 28th birthday. At the American Legion Hall, they ate, drank, danced, and took photos. When the family exited the Legion just before midnight, no one would have...
Okay, just before midnight. Are you telling me a woman is on a street corner?
...have predicted that the night was about to turn deadly.
Now, it can happen. It can happen.
A few blocks from Valeria's home, Keith slowed the car to a stop and rolled down the passenger window. Jacquelyn wished to offer money to a new mother who was out on the street, carrying a small bundle in her arms, as well as a sign that read, "Please help me feed my baby." As Keith would later tragically recount, stopping to help the woman in need would prove to be Jacquelyn Smith's fatal mistake. Both he and his daughter had a message for the city of Baltimore. Be careful who you trust, because things are not always as they seem. Hi, everyone.
What happened? Well, hold on. Come on. You're supposed to be telling us. But I know we're going to get to...
We about to.
I know, but I'm saying...
Have some patience.
So, no. Did something happen with the homeless person? Then from there... You didn't even have to tear that out.
I ain't like my handwriting.
Y'all, she does this. She be wasting paper, y'all. She's a paper waster.
Don't say
and y'all know in this environment, in this time period we don't need to be wasting paper. Like
I don't waste it. I still use it.
She wastes paper. She does it a lot.
I still use it.
No, she don't. She really don't.
I do.
She don't. She could be saving a tree right now, but she won't rip.
Don't say that.
Ripping waste paper. But back to this. I need to know what happened as far as the crime. Two, who pointed out the homeless?
We about to find out.
No, I'm just saying what I want to hear.
She probably seen it. I mean, she on a.
If Keith pointed her out, said, "Hey, that look like a homeless woman," she said, "She knowing."
Oh, I know what you're saying.
I'm saying like
let's just not jump. Let's just listen.
I'm Kevin, and welcome to Just Thought Lounge.
What's up, Kevin?
Today's case takes us through a roller coaster of fabrications and deception. It is a story of a city's reputation being exploited. All the while, its officials were conducting a clever and in-depth investigation that would eventually uncover the truth. Let's take a look. 52-year-old Keith Smith placed a frantic 911 call from his vehicle at 12:30 a.m. on December 1st, 2018. His wife Jacquelyn had been the victim of a stabbing. She was in the passenger seat next to him and needed immediate assistance. His daughter Valeria was in the back seat of the car. She was also a witness to the unexpected, horrific attack on her stepmother. The operator directed Keith to Johns Hopkins Hospital. Despite valiant medical efforts, Jacquelyn Smith succumbed to her injuries. She had sustained 5 stab wounds to her torso and a single cut to her lower right arm. She was pronounced dead before 1 a.m. that night.
Boy, we in a car. If somebody hit the gas.
Right?
Why? You know you can pull over to the side and keep your foot on the brakes. I don't have to put the car in park. Hand you out the money, you said I'm pulling off fast as hell.
Did she get out the car? Cause the five.
I'm not getting out the car.
Listen, I'm the reason why I'm asking that because the 5 stab wounds is to the torso. Unless somebody reaching down.
Reach in, bop, bop, bop.
That's the torso.
All of this is considered.
And then a right cut to
this is considered.
And then the right.
It's just
right. I guess so.
And the
Maybe
right
she
arm.
did.
She's
but
in
that's
the passenger.
And then I'm pretty sure I would assume you have your seatbelt on. So yeah, you could have. Oh, the door was never open because I'm still visualizing in my head what if. No. How is that possible? She should have drove off. I'm not talking about that no more. I'm with you. Yeah, I get all of that. I'm back on why you didn't drive off. I wouldn't have even allowed somebody 5 times.
One time maybe.
Yeah, because you don't know. You're
not expecting it. Maybe 2, but no, I'm not letting you get 5.
5 off and a cut to my. That's a lot going on.
That's 6.
That's a lot happening.
1 maybe. 1, yeah, I can see 1. 2 maybe. No more than that. Maybe 3 if I'm in shock. But 6 in all, that's not happening, bro. That means you literally stopped there.
The victim of an unsolicited attack by 2 panhandlers who had taken what they could from her and then run off.
Taking what they can, and then nobody else was. And nobody else?
I'm so.
Just felt moved to give her something. So at the stop sign, she waved her over to come on over to the car. And then out of nowhere, some guy came over while walking with her. And I hit my window. And Jacquelyn went to hand the money out. And the guy just leaned over and said, "Can I thank your wife?" And I said, "You can thank my wife." And within that split second, this guy commenced to stabbing my wife. Blood was everywhere. It was something that, it was horrific for something like that to happen. But I'm right now just absorbing all of it.
Jacquelyn.
Some sound sketch as hell, bro. And it was the setup anyway for the man, but some just don't sound right. Or am I tripping?
No.
Jacquelyn Ann Smith was born Jacquelyn Trevane in Providence, Rhode Island on the 4th of July, 1964. According to her mother, she was a joyful child who grew into a loving and ceaselessly caring adult. At an early age, Jacquelyn developed a love of music and of poetry.
That's what we did. We enjoyed music. We listened to music. And so when I'm in my car and I'm listening to music now, I shed a tear.
At the age of 54, Jacquelyn had raised 2 adult sons, one in college and the second a graduate who had joined the U.S. Coast Guard. Professionally, she had been very successful, holding a role as an electrical engineer and working for the Department of Defense in Maryland. In 2014, she had married Keith Smith. The couple were active in their church. Jacquelyn was known as a woman of faith. She was also known to have a very generous nature.
Jackie was an awesome, awesome woman, and it's really, really sad, and it's heartbreaking the way that she was taken from us.
The day following Jacquelyn's murder, her husband and stepdaughter courageously stepped out in front of the media to offer a warning to their neighbors. Do not blindly trust in the authenticity of those that appear desperate and in need of your help. They could be dangerous. Some of those on the street are not who they appear to be. This sentiment was also offered by law enforcement, who issued a warning to the residents of Baltimore to be cautious.
I just want to let Baltimore know to be careful when you feel like you want to give, because you don't know what the intentions are of the person that you're giving to.
It makes me look at this whole world differently now. You know, it makes me look at everything and everyone. Nothing is ever what it seems. And you just have to protect your family out here.
Using this ruse as panhandlers to get the attention of their would-be victim. And we also want to caution the public about engaging with panhandlers and recognizing the fact that not all of them have honest intent. Not all of them are in real need.
The nature of the attack on Jacquelyn left many on edge and began to stoke fears of the homeless, not only in Baltimore, but across the country as news of the horrific murder spread into the national media. Attention was drawn further when Oprah heard of Jacquelyn's act of kindness that had led to her death. She tweeted, "I've done this 1,000 times, but will think twice before ever doing it again." Law enforcement released the descriptions of the two suspects, ostensibly panhandlers.
So, black woman in her 20s, medium build, about 5 feet tall, wearing long brown coat, may have a baby.
Enforcement released the descriptions of the two suspects,
Then a black male in his 30s, 5'10", average build, goatee, wearing a black hoodie.
ostensibly panhandlers who were targeting charitable individuals to rob them, and if need be, attack them.
To identify that suspect, he's described as a man possibly in his 30s with a goatee, and we also want to identify the woman who was out there asking for money.
Homicide detectives had met with Keith and Valeria on the night of the murder at Johns Hopkins and had taken their initial statements. Then they drove straight out to the 1000 block of Valley Street.
Now I get what you was trying to insinuate. I get the picture.
I don't. And honestly, sometimes.
I know, but I'm saying
I
kind of get not as far as what she's standing outside the car, but how was the because now I need to go reenact, but also typically in the high crime areas, especially cities with high crime like Baltimore, Chicago, Memphis, just plethora other major high crime cities in the United States.
Yeah.
There's street cameras.
Yeah.
And there's street cameras on popular corners, particularly in poverty areas. This ain't on camera nowhere.
Yeah, and sometimes I need to stop getting ahead of myself because I always...
Both of us.
Because sometimes, if you've been here for a while, I'm such a visual person, so sometimes when something is said, I automatically paint a picture in my head. Not saying that that's how it happened,
I think that's human nature, though.
I painted this picture... I don't know why I painted this picture in my head that she was outside the car. I don't know where I even got that from. It's just the first thing... And I was like, what am I talking about? That's why and I had to back. I'm like, girl, what you talking about? He ain't say nothing about that. So you just make that up in your head. But yeah, she didn't have to be outside the car. If somebody reach into the car and stab you.
Take the window down.
Because you rolled the window. Because he said I stopped. I let the window down for her to give, hand, I guess, the money or whatever. And then the guy was like, hey,
and the guy popped out. The girl,
that's another thing. So did she give the money to the girl, and then the guy was also with her? It was
were they trying to insinuate that they were together? But at first, y'all only seen her. Or did you give
the money to the?
I don't know. This
I'm sorry,
sketchy,
y'all.
though.
Because sometimes I confuse myself.
No. It's human nature to try to paint things out and get a clear visual aspect of it. Because I think we all try to paint the picture of a crime.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? In our head to better understand.
Yeah.
Their initial statements. Then they drove straight out to the 1000 block of Valley Street to secure the crime scene. 3 detectives arrived within a few hours of the incident, yet they were unable to find any indications of the stabbing at the location where it had taken place. The next morning, at just past 10 a.m., Detective Beauregard, Singer, and Santos tried again, this time in the light of day. They began to conduct a canvass of the neighborhood. After walking the streets, searching the surrounding area, and speaking with local residents, they found nothing of evidentiary value. The team was unable to independently verify where the Smiths' Audi had stopped for the panhandlers. They could not locate any witnesses. The murder weapon, a knife, was not found.
Because if y'all from, I'm wondering, were they visiting, or Jacquelyn and Keith, because it's Keith's daughters, does she stay here, or this where the family reside? Because I'm like, the commute home should have been a normal commute home if it's your city. So you should know, hey, we was over here on this neighborhood, if I'm familiar with the city, right?
Yeah, when he said earlier, he was just like, there was a few blocks from home. But I don't know, like...
So y'all should 100% be able to take him back to the location of the crime.
But also the way that Keith spoke on the news thing makes me feel like also, they are from there. They are from there. But he needed instructions of how to get to the hospital. Let's just get more.
That kind of was a little weird to me. If you need instructions to get to the hospital, it gives me, I'm not from here.
Yeah.
Because say, for instance, a crime happened here where we at, I can get to the hospital. I can get to the hospital in the next spot, the next town, no matter where I'm at. Now, in Nashville, if a crime happened, I might need help getting instructions to get to the hospital. But where I'm at, even back home, that hospital, no matter where I'm at, I know how to get there.
I think I know how to get to the one here.
No matter where you at.
Here, I mean, I definitely know how to get to the one here. The next town over.
Yeah.
And
the one back home. The main one. Because we all kind of around certain
and
same
now
hospital.
The one in Nashville, the one my friend work at. Just because I've been down there just to
you want to know?
Okay, I wouldn't know how. No,
I'm saying if you was if you was in Nashville, you want to know. You can say it because we said Nashville.
This is 2008. I could have just heard and put in the GPS.
That too, but let's not.
Okay, well let's take the GPS out if we don't have a GPS.
But let me say this: you don't stay in Nashville.
Yeah, I still.
And what we saying? What we talking about is Vanderbilt.
I would probably still need
you would need.
Because I don't stay there and I don't go there often.
But if you stayed in Nashville,
then I would know
live in Nashville, and experience Nashville like you have experience here, you would know how to get to Vanderbilt.
Yeah. That's
what I mean by why are you calling, asking for assistance to get to the hospital?
Yeah. Let me get more info. We got a little ways to go.
Yeah, and that's why I said, are y'all from here? And if y'all are from there, how the fuck you can't take the police back to the scene of the crime? A crime happened to me here, I could take you back to the scene of the crime. Easy.
Yeah.
What did become apparent to the team of experienced detectives was that the 1000 block of Valley Street was not a well-traveled nor a very well-populated area. This was not an area panhandlers would typically be found. The survey of the neighborhood concluded that most of the houses on the 1000 block were vacant.
Nobody's. And that's another thing. Most people know their cities, right? Mm-hmm. You know where the homeless be at. Mm-hmm. You know where, like, if there is homeless here, there are homeless here. But if you need to, like, for the most part, you know where you can find them. Mm-hmm. Most people, they experience with their city. They know where the homeless be at. They're like, hey, people really don't be sitting out around here. Yeah. There's really not panhandlers. Because panhandlers are not going to be in an area that's not heavily trafficked. Mm-hmm. They want to go to a traffic area so they can see more cars go by. Right. Especially go downtown Nashville. There's a plethora of homeless. I didn't know it was that many homeless be down there until I went in college and I was like, oh shit. Y'all one line, the homeless really be out here. Yeah. Like every step you take, homeless. I'm like, ooh, I did not know it was like this. Antioch, Bell Road, God, they on the corners. I'm like, here it's a little different.
Were vacant.
Nobody's really panhandling right there. You know what I'm saying? Nobody.
Keith and Jacquelyn's 2012 Audi A7, driven by Keith that night, was brought to police headquarters.
2000 what? Audi A7?
2012 Audi A7.
Oh, that's a new, up-to-date Audi. You should 9 times out of 10. I'm talking about at the time. You got a GPS system in the Audi, possibly. You got to think about the cars though.
Yeah.
Audis are advanced cars.
Yeah. I thought you were about to say something.
Is it Q7 or A7? It's an A7.
A7.
The car. Okay. How is she in the back seat of an A7?
She was in the front.
No.
Valeria was in the back.
That's what I'm saying. How's a grown ass woman in a back seat of an Audi?
She didn't look too. She was pretty small. And this looked like he got a little bit of space.
You ain't never drove an Audi.
I have, babe. Yes, I have.
You never drove an Audi car.
Oh, not a car.
The back seat of this one might not be as tight. The biggest car Audi I've driven was a 6. And me driving it, I'm in the back seat driving because my legs.
2012 Audi A7, driven by Keith that night, was brought to police headquarters directly from the hospital for processing. Latent prints were recovered from the exterior of the vehicle on the passenger side. But these were determined to...
Hold on, what? I'm sorry. You just handed me the phone. Wait, I'm trying... Let me see. 2012. I'm sorry he got his... All right.
By Keith that night, was brought to police headquarters directly from the hospital for processing. Latent prints were recovered from the exterior of the vehicle on the passenger side. But these were determined to be those of Keith Smith. No other prints were identified.
Not even Jacquelyn's? She got it on the passenger side. There was prints on the passenger side. And not even Jacquelyn's?
Smith. No other prints were identified. A pair of black gloves were resting on the top of the center console, and a second set of yellow rubber gloves were retrieved from the back seat. An acrylic fingernail had broken off in the seat as well. It appeared to match those worn by Valeria Smith. There was no unidentified DNA or fingerprints in the vehicle that could assist law enforcement in tracking down the unknown panhandler murderers. Investigators were still seeking to corroborate the details provided by Keith and his daughter. Specifically, they sought to verify the route taken by the vehicle.
Babe, what you doing?
I'm picturing an Audi.
Okay.
5'10". Panhandler. Can I thank your wife? They got a where we at? Yeah. They got 2 Audi A6. That's what theirs.
Even the accent.
No. I'm just follow me. Just follow me right here. They got an Audi A6. 2 of them behind us. The ones at the corner. You know what I'm talking about? The black and white ones?
I'm thinking.
The people right there with the dog that's in the window all the time.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, they got 2 Audis. You never paid attention to that car?
Not 2.
Yeah, they got 2 Audis. Both of them are A6. I like Audis, so I pay attention to Audis when I see them. Very, very good, smooth riding cars. She loves Audis too. Don't get into it. And so I'm picturing the height of an Audi. The smallest Audi I think I drove was a A3. I hate the cars. They're fucking tight in the inside. That's what I'm trying to picture. If I had to get in, the tightness of it, and I'm having to get in and stab somebody, there's going to be handprints on the outside, and I have I have to put my hand on the door handle to get in to stab you. And that's what I'm trying to picture. They are low sitting cars. Mm-hmm. He would have to scrunch over to even to stab you and get in them to stab you.
What I was about to say before you,
that would be fingerprints.
Before you told me to wait. Even asking you, can I thank your wife? I thought that was strange. Because most times you hand someone, some money, and they just thank you. Yeah. You give it to them, and they just, thank you, and you go on. But the fact that, I just thought that was a little strange. I was like, I've never had that happen to me before, so it's just a little strange, but okay, whatever.
Yeah. And typically, I'm going to say this, it's midnight. Even if you're going to give something to somebody, typically the man would hand it over for protective.
And honestly, to be real with you, knowing, because I'm assuming they are from here. They are from here. Yeah. And also knowing the type of city you stay in, you're not stopping at no midnight. I'm not stopping. I have the most generous heart. I'm not stopping at midnight for nothing. I don't care if it's a car full of people. I'm not stopping. I'm just not. No matter how much I want to give, I'm not stopping. Especially if I know that I'm in a city that the crime is not
a higher crime city.
I'm a higher crime city. Yeah, I'm not.
Everybody know Baltimore is one of those cities, especially abandoned row houses. That's what I'm saying. They said, because I ain't gonna hold you, abandoned row houses give me more like a lower income type area, right? I'm not going to 100% put poverty-stricken area.
Yeah.
Panhandlers don't hang out in where there's no money.
Facts.
They go to where the money is.
And like the dude said, there's no people standing out here asking for money.
I'm poor struggling. What I look like going to the poor struggling for more money?
It doesn't make sense. Also, I would like to know
I'm going to go to where the money at, downtown.
Right. Also, the place that they were celebrating the birthday at, because he did state that they left a little bit before midnight, right? Mm-hmm. The call to 911 wasn't made until 12:30. I just want to know, like, the distance between where you say the crime happened at and from where y'all left to celebrate the birthday.
True. Also,
how far it was in between.
That is true.
Because obviously this...
Also, let me say this part. Is this even make sense as far as the route for y'all to go home?
I would like to know that as well. I was thinking that, but I've been ahead of myself because my brain's just going. So
it just sucks, man.
But yeah,
it just don't make sense.
The FBI were called in to assist with extracting data from the Audi's computer to obtain the GPS location data.
And first 48.
They were unsuccessful. Despite their thorough and focused efforts, the Baltimore police were struggling to locate any leads. The Homeless Outreach Team, or HOT team, were also notified. Based on the descriptions provided by Keith and Valeria, this team used all its existing resources, but was unable to develop any suspects.
Also, the suspect's identity just was too vague. 2 black individuals, one being 5 foot. Typically, a lot of black girls around 5 foot to 5'4". The average black girl height. Average black male height is fucking 5'9", 5'10", 5'11". Mm-hmm. That's too fucking vague. You know what I'm saying? If you tell me, hey, this is criminal, about 5'10", 200. That's an average black man in America.
Oh, and he had a goatee. Like, what?
Average, and he's 30. That's an average black man in America.
That's a lot of people. That's
a 5 foot black girl in her 20s. The average, well, not the average, but typical black girl in America. Bro, we literally looking for a needle in a haystack.
Yeah.
I just want them to find, if anybody knows anybody, if anybody has any information, please help us and find out who did this to my stepmother, please.
And crime without tears.
The inability to verify the crime scene was an obvious hindrance to the investigation. Seeking to piece together a timeline of the evening, investigators began by acquiring the surveillance footage across the city to track the Smiths' movements. They arrived at the American Legion Hall on Madison Avenue.
Does this even look like a spot?
They arrived.
Somebody would want to go celebrate their birthday.
Probably. It just depends on the person. And maybe the age.
28.
That's why I just said maybe. Let me get the info.
I want to go somewhere fancy, bro. I'm not shitting on this, unless it's her favorite food or something.
At the American Legion Hall on Madison Avenue. Cameras there confirmed that the Smiths left the hall together at 11:45 p.m. Reviewing the footage of 27 CCTV cameras from the Legion to Valley Street, near to Valeria's home, the team sought to recreate the path taken by Keith and verified by his daughter. Detectives were unable to locate the Audi on any of the cameras around the areas described. They reviewed motion-activated residential security cameras that could have captured angles of the incident itself, first at East Chase Street. They found nothing. Then they reviewed the cameras facing East Edgar Street, and again, the cameras failed to capture any footage of the incident or of Keith Smith's vehicle. Their next step was to acquire the cell phone data from Keith and Valeria's phone. Hopefully, they could use signal data to map the family movements that night. Keith's cell phone showed no activity throughout the evening before he placed the call to 911 after his wife was stabbed.
No activity
But
at
data
all.
from Valeria's cell phone proved to be insightful. It showed that the family had not gone south after leaving the American Legion to take Valeria home, as they had told detectives. Instead, they turned north. Connected towers indicated that the family had traveled to Druid Hill Park, near the Maryland Zoo, and had remained in that location for approximately 15 minutes. Neither of the Smiths had mentioned this stop to police.
Right?
In addition to analyzing the father and daughter's phones, police obtained the activity from Jacquelyn's stolen device. Curiously, the last activity shown on her phone was from about 4 p.m. that afternoon, from her home in Aberdeen. Although it was reported that Jacquelyn had her cell phone with her on the night of her murder, there is no indication that it ever left her house. What of the other missing items? In the days following the murder, pawnshops across the city were checked for any of the belongings stolen from Jacquelyn during the attack. Her necklace, purse, and cell phone had not turned up in any shops. They could not be located. A week and a half later, however, Jacquelyn's Visa card was flagged. Someone had been using it. Detectives tracked down 3 male teenagers who claimed to have found the card in a Michael Kors clutch left at a bus stop on the corner of Caroline Street and Madison Avenue. The teens were detained and questioned as potential suspects. They were ultimately released, however, when the location of the bus stop was confirmed to be on the exact route taken by Keith and Valeria after leaving the Legion. At least, the route defined by cell phone data and tracking Google accounts, not the route they had claimed to police to have traveled. After 3 months of investigating, the Baltimore detectives had failed to uncover a single piece of evidence linking Jacquelyn's murder to a pair of panhandlers. What they had discovered was a series of inconsistencies and contradictions in the statements offered by the Smiths. For instance, Keith told police at the hospital that the second panhandler, the man, had reached into the car and stolen his wife's purse. In subsequent statements, he said it was the woman who did so.
Some guy came over to say, "Can I thank her?" And as he did that, and I'm not thinking he's going to do what he did, he commenced to stabbing my wife. Snatched her necklace before I knew it, and the girl snatched a little pocketbook in the seat.
I'm with you earlier. It's so much happening. We got stabbing. We got 5 stabs. We got 5 stabs. To the torso. A cut on the arm. A purse being snatched. Or wallet. A necklace being snatched. Like, it's a lot happening for us to just be sitting here. And she's the only one that... And no one drove off. No one fought back. No one did anything. That's weird to me. Like, be for real. And then my thing also, and I always say, I get that everybody handle things differently as far as emotions and how they process things, but it's just the lack thereof for me.
Lack of tears.
It's just weird. It's weird.
Sadness is brought by tears. Somebody can keep their composure, but you're not gonna cry in sorrow without tears flowing.
Or even if
I don't care who. I ain't never seen somebody really cry in sorrow without tears.
Oh no. I'm stuttering because I'm just like, I'm so confused as to,
unless somebody that's emotionless, and that's a whole different.
And then the fact that y'all even lied about the route y'all took in the
that
first
already
place,
red. That's the major red flag.
Then y'all said
right
her
there.
phone was stolen or purse was stolen, which she had her phone, but the phone hadn't shown no activity since 4 p.m. and it's pinging at the house and.
Either he had his phone turned off, or he never, or they went back home and got his phone.
Something.
But I'm believing he had his phone turned off. She had her phone. That's the indication that we got to take photos. Because we got to prove that we all together having a good time. She took photos. They weren't thinking. They thought, but they weren't thinking. She probably forgot to even turn her phone back off.
Maybe so, yeah.
Thank you.
And they both.
Keith had initially been very vocal to the media and keen to offer a neighborly warning to fear the city's homeless population. But within a week, the story had picked up national news coverage, and Keith abruptly stopped taking interviews.
Them lies, bro. It's hard to keep them lies up.
Police confronted Keith with the location data. At that stage, his story changed once again. He claimed that he had been lost that night and embarrassed to admit it. Yes, they had gone to the park where the family parked for a time and looked through photos they had taken earlier in the evening on their phones. After he was released from that interview, Keith Smith drove home, remotely agreed to a year-long lease to a modest home in Florida, ordered and packed a rental truck, and left the state.
Shut up.
You don't leave.
Shut up.
This is a husband who had just lost his wife.
What I'm running from?
He's not. No. He's not gonna leave. He wants to feel still close to her. So if we bury her here, I still want to be able to go visit when I need.
That's suspicious for you to pack up and leave. What you running from?
You don't.
Be for real. Don't.
You don't.
You don't do that.
I just
Only
lost
guilty
my
people
wife.
do that.
I want to be able to go visit her, talk to her, cry with her.
We still trying to figure out, we still haven't found the suspect. And where we going?
Florida. Far as possible.
4th, and he came in one night with a very large moving truck and rapidly loaded it the next day, and we never saw him since.
Red flag.
When Valeria was questioned, she requested an attorney and the interview ended. She later left Maryland as well to meet up with her father.
Godly.
Law enforcement knew that Keith was fleeing.
I'm finna tell you how you also know she fake crying, right? She's super hysterical, right? First thing she do is cover her eyes. She's not crying. She has she's hiding the eyes.
Requested an attorney and the interview ended.
There's no tears coming out.
She later left Maryland as well to meet up with her father. Law enforcement knew that Keith was fleeing, and they were tracking him. Keith must have at least suspected that he was being watched. He attempted to dodge a wiretap on his phone in a few ways, by changing his number, changing his phone provider, and shipping a new cell phone to his daughter. But law enforcement was still listening in. In February 2019, Keith attempted to book 2 flights out of the country, one to Canada and a second to Cuba. These attempts failed, however, because he did not hold a US passport. Keith eventually deduced that he could fly to the US Virgin Islands by providing only a driver's license. While placing these calls, his search engine was locating information on how one might travel to Mexico without formally going through a border crossing. On March 1st, Keith rented a car in Texas. This move prompted an immediate response by police in Baltimore. An arrest warrant was issued for Keith and his daughter 2 days later. The warrant stated that at the time of writing, 11:15 a.m. on March 3rd, both suspects were 20 minutes from the Mexican border in an obvious attempt to flee prosecution for first-degree murder.
Let's be realistic. We would all love to take a vacation to Mexico. You know, you get a chance to go to Mexico, you say yes. Your dad says, hey, you know what, let's head on down to Mexico. Let's take a little family vacation.
One way you could have went to Mexico if you really wanted to. I ain't finna put no criminal shit for y'all.
Please don't.
I'm just saying you could have took a cruise, got off the cruise in Mexico, wandered off, been gone. Gone in the wind.
But you're doing too much.
Oh, he already did too much.
You would have made yourself not look as guilty if you just stayed put.
Yeah. But you know what I'm saying? Also, motherfucker, you knew
you've been guilty from the beginning. Been lying, can't keep up.
If fleeing the country was
a lie, because I can't keep up with all that.
If fleeing the country was an option for you, you should have got a passport before you even did the crime, because you already had premeditated the murder. So why didn't we premeditate to get a fucking passport from the get go? I would have already had a passport.
And what you? I'm
and why the fuck we going to Mexico?
Why you take her life?
Also, why the fuck we going to Mexico? Nigga, they still can get you extradition.
Exactly.
Canada, you still can come.
Exactly. But okay.
I don't even know where to go. Now, Cuba is an option. But you ain't getting your ass to Cuba.
Some R&R. I don't see there being any criminal element to that.
Mr. Smith is always innocent until proven guilty, and I haven't seen anything yet that proves him guilty.
Keith and Valeria Smith were arrested by Texas law enforcement later on the same day that the warrant was issued.
In the course of our investigation, we developed evidence that Mr. Smith was leaving Maryland, so we made the appropriate national notifications, and the Texas State Police arrested him this morning.
We pursued the evidence from the very beginning, and these detectives were very tenacious. They were very thorough and dedicated.
These individuals took advantage of a situation, a city that is already dealing with its own problems. So we're looking forward to this cruel act being brought to justice.
The arrest warrant did not outline how investigators believed the father and daughter had committed the murder. It outlined the many lies and deceptions fed to detectives throughout the murder investigation, as well as their failure to turn up any other suspects. But that was not all. It seems that the panhandler ruse was not the first plan proposed by Keith Smith to murder his wife. Investigators learned through a friend of Keith's brother, Vic, that Keith had previously asked for help getting rid of his wife.
What?
According to his brother, in the months leading up to her death, Jacquelyn had spoken to Keith about wanting a divorce. According to Vic, this was...
Girl, she done changed the hairstyle and everything. She was trying to really hide her identity.
Well, she just took her wig off.
But it's still...
But still, yeah.
She looks completely different.
She do.
Pops, you bald headed. Ain't much shit you can do. You can't grow it back. It's gone. I guess you shave the beard completely off. Or dye the beard and try to grow the hair a little bit. That's too much work on your hand. You already bald. Most people, they cut the hair to go bald.
Not the desired outcome for Keith. It seems he preferred instead to make a claim on her life insurance policy, on which he remained the beneficiary.
We all know that.
Keith did exactly that. Only 2 days after her murder, he arrived at Jacquelyn's work requesting the paperwork to make the claim. Law enforcement, already deeply suspicious of his story, told the insurer to hold off on the payment. This left Jacquelyn's 2 sons time to fight for her estate in probate court. It also meant that Keith was very short on cash. As he schemed a means of escape, he was forced to apply for a cash advance on his American Express. It was declined. The news that the Panhandler murder had all been a hoax was not a surprise to everyone. In particular, Jacquelyn's mother, who still lived in Rhode Island, told the shocked news media that she had always believed that Keith's story was nonsense.
I knew it was phony. I didn't believe her husband at all. I knew something else happened. Why would he stay in the area with her in the car after the man pulled the chain from her neck, as he claims? It was too phony.
The Trevane family reported that they were never close with Keith Smith. Because of this, it is unclear if they were aware of his criminal past. 20 years earlier, Keith had committed armed robbery 3 times at the same bank. In December 1999, Keith had lost his job with FedEx because of a loss of points on his driver's license. Worse still, according to the Baltimore Sun, he had just found out that he was HIV positive. Struggling to pay for household bills as a single father to his daughter and requiring medication, Keith had decided that the First Union Bank on York Road in Timonium was a prime target.
Did she even know he was positive?
Probably not.
And that could have been a means of motive for the divorce.
They had only been married 4 years. They got married in 2014.
She probably never disclosed. He probably never disclosed
his status. Probably did.
And then she probably
just off of this.
He a con artist. It's a possibility. Now she has gotten wind. Maybe she caught it, contracted it. Or maybe she found out that he had it, wanted the divorce, didn't want nothing to do with him. That's a possibility, bro.
That's... Okay.
You got your own daughter involved?
Its proximity to Interstate 83 allowed for a quick getaway. So, he walked into the bank wearing a ski mask and carrying a pellet gun. He jumped over the counter, emptied the drawers of cash, and exited from the back. This first robbery yielded a payout of about $15,000. 3 months later, he did it again. That time, he took home $16,000. It was 5 months later that he decided to put his plan into effect one more time. By that point, police had a description of his vehicle. After it was spotted in East Baltimore, a police chase ensued, ending in a crash and the arrest of Keith Smith. He served 6 years of a 12-year sentence in state prison. Keith told police that he had used the stolen funds to pay bills. When they searched his home, they located roughly $20,000 wrapped into bundles and hidden away in a black bag.
Oh, he got greedy. That's what it was.
Valeria Smith was charged as an accessory to the murder. It is unclear what case, if any, the prosecutors had developed to link her to the premeditated murder of her stepmother. It was clear that she assisted in covering up the murder after the fact. It was revealed that Valeria had been struggling. She was diagnosed as bipolar and spent some time institutionalized for treatment back in 2012. Since that time, she had also developed an addiction to heroin. It was believed that she was in many ways another victim of her father's, coerced into assisting him to cover up the murder. For this reason, Valeria was offered a plea deal.
Helped her father. She's indicated in the plea agreement that, she helped her father dispose of the knife, helped her father dispose of, the other property, things of that nature. She's taken full responsibility for that. She's still extremely upset about the entire thing. And she, certainly apologizes to the rest of the family for her role in this.
But you can't tell us whether or not she's going to testify against her own father?
Valeria admitted guilt as an accessory after the fact. And she did agree to testify.
How's she accessory after the fact? Well, 9 times out of 10, she was with her father when he committed the murder.
9 times out of 10,
they both
had this planned all day.
9 times out of 10, she probably held her while the father even stabbed her.
That's why I'm just like, I can't prove anything, but my gut telling me it's more than just that. But
they both deserve first degree.
Testify against her father. The trial took place in late 2021. Valeria told the jury that after celebrating her birthday, her father drove the family to Druid Hill Park with Jacquelyn, who she believed had dozed off in the front seat. There, her father stabbed her stepmother 5 times when she was believed to have been, at least initially, sleeping. He disposed of the knife in the woodland. Valeria was given 2 wallets belonging to Jacquelyn, including the Michael Kors clutch. She testified that she was instructed by Keith to get rid of them. She left one at the bus stop at Caroline and Madison, where she watched as a group of youths wandered over and picked through it. The panhandler story was given to her by Keith. The defense team grilled Valeria over the length of time it took her to come clean. They accused her of playing a more active role in the murder and lying on the stand to save herself.
She did.
The 32-year-old recovering addict testified that she was forced by her father to lie, but was telling the truth now because she did not want to go to prison for a murder that she did not commit.
They both wanted money. Your husband, I mean, not your husband, your father, he robs.
Mm-hmm.
You a junkie that wants some money so you can get high. Both of y'all was in on it for the money.
You do this, whatever. I get this life insurance. I'm gonna cut you a little.
Also,
piece.
how was she with Jacquelyn? Did she like Jacquelyn?
Right? Who knows?
Obviously not, because there is no way she could have liked Jacquelyn and been okay with her father doing that.
Even if I didn't know before, even after the fact, I get this my daddy, but you done took a whole life.
Let's be real. Your father,
mm-hmm.
and the woman he was married to.
Mm-hmm.
You in the backseat, your father do that. You watch your father do that.
Mm-hmm.
You will freak the fuck out.
I am.
And be shaking and
me,
you will be afraid of your father.
Yeah, because I'm like, first of all,
what the fuck just happened?
Especially if it's something that like I didn't know prior, and you do that in front of me. Yeah,
you're shaking up. You're more now
what you want.
in shock and afraid.
And for me, what you given that scenario, I actually liked my stepmama. So I'm going to really be emotional for real because I actually love her. There's no
emotion.
Like,
because honestly, if she even liked her, every time they were interviewing them
mm-hmm.
and they was on camera, she would revisit.
Mm-hmm.
And if she was really shocked that he did that,
mm-hmm.
she would just tear up from that because it's still remorse. Even though I'm trying to help my father, I'm reliving it and I'm shocked by it.
And I'm not about to be trying to flee with you. I don't have anything to hide. I didn't do anything. I'm not about to be fleeing with you. Now, what you got going, especially if you know your daddy. You know your daddy a criminal. You know your daddy be on this type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? I'm not getting involved in it. No. You can throw your life away, but I'm not doing it. Especially at 28. She was 20. I'm not doing that.
I tell you, man. I know.
And they were in love. They were soulmates. She was just an awesome woman. She was a powerful woman. Like, I looked up to her, and
you see, when she said, I looked up to her, she looked out to the side. I looked up to her. No, you didn't like them, man.
Keith Smith was convicted of first-degree murder in December 2021. He was sentenced to life in prison.
A selfish act where he not only manipulated the hearts and the minds of a country, but he manipulated the heart and the mind of his of his daughter, who was addicted to drugs. He was able to utilize this elaborate scheme and story to prey upon her and who she was and her character.
A month after her father, Valeria was also sentenced. She was given 5 years for her role in covering up the murder.
She out.
The verdict and sentencing came as a relief to Jacquelyn's family. It was exactly the justice that they had sought.
I was laughing then, and I knew it was a circus. I knew it was all for optics. I knew it was a show, and I was just laughing. And I knew this day would come. I didn't know it would come this soon.
She out.
And that was the story of Keith Smith and the Panhandler murder hoax. Thanks for watching. I'm Kevin. This is Just Thought.
Rest in peace to Jacquelyn.
Yeah, so let me just say, she is out. Reason why she's out, trial 2001. She was already in jail and in custody even before then. So
yeah,
the murder happened in 2018. Even though if they stayed out a year, she still would have,
The fact and again, even if what's her name, Valeria,
oh.
even if she didn't know beforehand what her dad had planned.
You still had opportunity
I just can't sit with that, like knowing after the fact. And there's no amount of money. For some people that moves them, but for me, there's no amount of money that's going to be like, if he did like promise her like I'll give you something if I be able to get life insurance, whatever the case may be. And I get that's your dad and you like, I love my dad, I'll do anything for my dad. I do anything for my dad.
She a junkie.
But covering up a murder, that's where maybe you're gonna cross the line. That's where I draw the line. So no.
A junkie gonna do whatever for money. She was a heroin addict.
Yeah.
That's why.
Yeah, so
hey, y'all spam us up in the comments. Y'all let us know y'all thoughts
Please
about
do.
it for us in the comment section down below. But until next time, y'all know how it go, man. I do go by the name DJ New Kid. This is
Sierra Nicole.
We are.
Kid and C.
We are.
No time to kick it, got a stack of flip for my foes. Dollar. Please tell me you can hear me. Don't turn your back and don't neglect me. Just let me know if you need me. Dollar. Let me watch out for my partners.